Zeus, right? Dr. Zeus. Sure.
Yeah, they were like shanty towns during the Great Depression. I
Good.
think they were started during World War I veterans, weren't they? That started them.
Yep.
And then they were just like some just big shanty towns of low or low incomes.
Why are they called Hoovervilles?
It was during Hoover's reign, or
Perfect.
no reign, but power.
Presidential. Yeah,
Reign,
that's
yeah,
right.
his reign of terror.
His reign of terror. Marlon?
Did they want the money that they were promised all in one lump sum?
That's right.
And didn't the media kind of capture him sending the military through to take them down? It made him look even worse because he was attacking veterans.
Beautiful. Perfect. Perfect. All of that is perfect. What's the importance of it? It destroys the image of Hoover too, right? Destroys Hoover.
Was it right outside the White House?
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right outside the White House. Can't get close enough nowadays, but back then you could get a bit closer. There's wonderful images if you go online and look up White House and sheep, of people walking their sheep on the White House lawn during Wilson's presidency. That's a little off topic, but there you go. I don't think you could do that today. I don't think you could walk sheep on the White House lawn.
The PowerPoints are from.
Pardon me?
Hooverville, PowerPoints.
Great Depression. First World War and the Great Depression. Any questions on that one? I love that one. That's a great one.
Great one.
It's a wonderful one for exams. I like that one. Good. The Tet Offensive? Tet? Offensive? Tet? Oh.
It was an attack by the Viet Cong during the celebration of Tet.
Which is?
It's like a New Year's festival.
Perfect.
And it came like days after Nixon had said, oh yeah, the war in Vietnam is going great, we've got it all under control, and then the Viet Cong kicked them out of the capital, Saigon, and destroyed a number of their troops and put them grossly under the scrutiny of the American people.
Perfect. Couple of things. It was Johnson, not Nixon. Okay. It was Johnson, and that's why Johnson had to resign, right? Or didn't run again. Otherwise, everything Cody said is perfect. All right. Good. 13 days after Johnson said, yeah, we're winning the war in Saigon, it's the safest place in all of Vietnam. 13 days later, they took Saigon. All right. Looks kind of bad. Good. Why is it important? This is where, as Cody said, this is where the media and people on the home front really started focusing on the Vietnam War, and public opinion shifted against the Vietnam War. This is where you get hippies showing up and that sort of thing. Everybody, I assume, remembers Rasputin? Yes?
Who?
Rasputin. Okay, good, good. Rasputin. Once again, if you can write all the lyrics to the song, I'm just joking. Good. He's important in that he brought about the Russian Revolution. Inadvertently, but he brought about the Russian Revolution. Right. That's why he's important when we look at him. Partially because he was having sex with the Tsar or the Queen.
Was he actually?
Yes.
Oh. I thought they were.
And they didn't tape that.
I thought they were. Ew.
Don't tape that about the song. Don't want to use that against him.
They also, okay, just to clarify, I thought he was psychic because he made some strange predictions.
Yeah.
He was a womanizer.
Yeah.
And he looked like, they thought he was immortal or something like that because, they shot him and poisoned him and
Beat him.
beat the living Christ out of him.
Drowned
Threw him in a cold river.
And then, didn't they, like, start him on fire or something like that?
They went to cremate him and he sat up and fired him.
That's cute.
And that's partially because, when you die, they sever all your tendons, alright? And obviously they didn't sever Rasputin's tendons, so when they were burning him, the tendons contracted, so he
This
sat
actually
up.
happened?
Yeah.
That'd be scary as hell.
Oh,
So
that was
was
like
it
this?
fired like that?
He was a spooky looking guy to
No, I
begin
was
with.
scared, I just thought that it was a rumor, like someone wrote, but.
Video on YouTube.
Well, that's part of the problem. It comes down from a couple of people who were there during the cremation. So did it actually happen? It's hard to argue that it did or didn't. The rumor is that he sat up. I mean, we don't have documented evidence. Although that'd be cool if we had a video. Rasputin scene. Operation Red Dog. I put that on there intentionally because a lot of people will confuse it with the CIA, but it's not what it, oh, I thought you were reading it again. With the CIA, but it has nothing to do with the CIA. What is Operation Red Dog? It's from Designed Anti-Semitism, okay?
It was Canadian and American mercenaries who were all part of the KKK, and there was like 9 of them who planned to overthrow the government of Dominica.
In the Caribbean, yeah.
Yeah, and reinstill, Prime Minister, I've never even heard of him before.
Yep.
Something John, can't remember his name.
That's unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's the gentleman who was living here in London, Michi, right? And his goal was to remove the blacks from the area in the Caribbean, get them all out of there, send them up here to Canada. And then all the glorious Aryan individuals would go down to the Caribbean and set up a perfect Aryan utopia, right, in the Caribbean, based on white supremacist ideas. Right? And the importance of this is, I mean, this was in the 60s and 70s, and it was in Canada. The main focus of it was Canadian individuals who wanted to put this in place. So why is that important? Yeah, it shows anti-Semitism right in our backyard. Okay, this is the same guy who had this swastika cut into his backyard, right? That I showed you.
What's his name?
Weechee, so he'd be number 7. You see what? You like that?
I see what you did.
So the 38 quickly becomes less and less. Good, so we've kind of covered Weechee there as well. Remember, Weechee's the guy who had apartment complexes and insisted that he wasn't racist because he rented out the apartments to Chinese people. He also wanted to create a Heritage Day weekend, much like we have Summerfest, where we just celebrate the greatness of white people. So, I don't know. You'd probably sell the same crap you sell at all the Sunfests, but a little more white focused, I guess. Has anybody gone to the Sunfest, Balloon Fest, Rib Fest?
Yeah, it was 14.
Skate Fest? Yeah.
Ribfest has a Gravtron, actually, I did
That's
go
right.
for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rides are great.
Yep.
The ribs, no, it's too much money. Too much money for ribs.
And
$20 a rack, yeah.
Way too much for me. Way too much for me. I just get someone to push my kid down and make him cry and say, look, you push my kid.
What is it,
It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's a cheap way.
It's real cheap.
It's a benefit of having kids, man. Jim Coonley.
There's just a
It's
floor,
a Jim.
there's no, when they drop
Jim
the floor,
Coonley.
you just sit there.
Yeah, I wrote down like 3 times.
This is from anti-Semitism again. This is the African American who's believed to be the individual who killed Mary Flange. Remember, he was washing the rust stains out of his shirt. Right? The police let him off. He was their prime witness against Leo Frank.
What was the little girl's name?
Mary Flange, Phlange, I believe. I don't think I have one. I don't. Chances are it'd either be Jim Cooney or Leo Frank on there. And since I already told you what Leo Frank's perfect ID would be, it's probably not Leo Frank. Covered Martin Weechee, covered Beria. Roosevelt's Executive Order 9066. Zach, you know this one?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm sorry.
Chad?
Well, no.
You got it a shot there. I like that well. You built it up. I thought you were going to give me something. Anybody else? This is internment. Japanese internment. Okay.
So they were trying to protect them.
Internment. Yeah, this is from the Truman in the bottom section.
So we're trying to protect them from either being eaten alive by the US citizens, right?
Yeah.
For their own protection.
That's right. This is where they were trying to protect the Japanese citizens.
We did in Canada
Really,
too,
though?
did we not?
Or
It was done-
do you wanna make it appear like that when really you just didn't trust him?
I think it's both. I think it is both. I think, I think honestly they had some good intentions, but it was also the concern over saboteurs. So it had the double-edged sword.
Road to hell is paved with good intentions.
There you go. I think the goal was to put them in the camp so that we protected the citizens and we protected the Japanese citizens. The problem was that we confiscated all their stuff. So if we're trying to protect them, why confiscate all their stuff and then give them $5? $5 for your business that's been there for 10 years. Does that sound about right? If someone confiscated my house and said, here's $10, I'd be pissed, right? Even though my house isn't worth more than $10, I'd still be pissed. Flood.
We got nothing.
That's true, that's true. Good point. Why is it important? It just reinforces the idea of racism during this period of time and that it played some role in it. I'm not saying it played a pivotal role, but we have to admit it played a role to a certain degree. Because how many Germans were interned in these camps? Not a single one, right?
So that would play into part of the yellow peril.
It sure would. Which number is that?
19.
There you go. It would play in with 19 as well, the yellow arrow. Good. SDS? You remember this one? Student Democratic Society?
Oh,
One of those counterculture groups?
The ones that started blowing up buildings.
There you go. It's from Vietnam Part 2, alright? And this is the organization that started because they wanted to change the fact that they had to wear dress codes and had to take certain courses, I don't know, like RIT and that sort of thing. So they revolted, and what happened was this group quickly came to the realization that only through violence could they start to initiate change. This is a very different perception than we get from hippies, right? Hippies are typically what we think about when we think of the 60s. I mean, if I say, what's the counterculture movement from the 60s, most people think about hippies, you know, dancing around, listening to music, and stoners, along those lines, right? However, there are other groups that emerge. SDS is a great one. What's another one that we looked at? The Black Panthers are another one, right? One of these two groups. And it demonstrates that there was a very violent tinge to this counterculture movement as well, right? This will be pivotal when it comes to the essay questions, more than the IDs when it comes to the essay questions, which I'll show you in a minute.
I was gonna say, can you tie in the Black Panthers as an example, like just kind of back up your?
I would do it more with the essay question than I would
Yeah.
with the IDs, but you know what? It doesn't hurt to mention the ID as well.
That's what I mean, just to kind of throw it in there.
When it comes to the essay question, you'll most definitely be able to use that, and Manson, and Ultima, and all those things.
Are you marking this? Or do you have your like answers written out for other people to do it?
No, it's, oh, what a glorious world that would be. No, it's purely me, it's purely me, yeah. Why, you want someone else to mark it?
No, I was just curious.
Oh, no, it's me. I'm not biased. Maybe. Dreyfus Fair. Once again, from Design Anti-Semitism. You should all remember this, because this is the French lieutenant who I didn't tell you was Jewish, and you all laughed at me, and then when I told you he was Jewish, then you all realized, well, that story now makes sense. He's the gentleman who was sent to Devil's Island, right, because he supposedly sold the secrets to the Germans. Remember, he threw the secrets in the garbage can, and the janitor found them and said, oh, look at that, there's some secrets hiding in the garbage can, and he passed them around. Does everybody remember this?
London story.
What's that?
Sent to London, England.
No, Devil's Island. Devil's Island. Although,
Just a little
I can
way.
see- I can see why you're saying that, yes. Either Devil's Island, a hellhole, or London. No, Devil's Island. This is pivotal because France is still divided on this issue today. All right, the Dreyfus Affair.
That was part of anti-Semitism, right? Or the-
Pardon me?
That was part of anti-Semitism.
That's right. Yep, this is all part of the anti-Semitism. You have the anti-Dreyfus Party and the Dreyfus Party still in France today, right, arguing these two sides. Remember, the military in the 2000s still refused to have a statue of Dreyfus posted in front of the military school, even though the government has forgiven them.